Hey, good evening, everyone.
Hi, John.
We'll take a seat. Anybody who's got their phone volume turned up, please turn it down. It's only going to vibrate. It's my understanding that it is streaming. The meeting is streaming, and I'm going to ask somebody somewhere, I don't care which one, but somebody try to monitor the comments that might come in case you think it's worthy of being heard here. Sorry, let me introduce. I'm Dusty Phalen. I'm one of the co-chairs of this committee. I'm just a citizen like you all. I'm not on the council. I got no dog in this hunt other than I love my city and I want good things to happen for the city. So what we're here for tonight is to try to get your input about ideas for the development or disposition of the St. Albans Junior High lot that's left over. So with that said, I've got a little mini agenda set up. Hopefully everybody will get the opportunity to have a say. There are some people who are self-conscious about speaking out in public, like me. And so I passed out, I prepared this little form. Don't feel bound by the form itself. I did leave an other. Feel free to write in any questions you might have so that the committee can consider them prior to making any recommendation to council. This is just the beginning. This isn't a one-shot deal. This is just the beginning because there's some questions that still need to be answered. But I want to tell you about the selection process. We had luckily, for once, we had an overabundance of volunteers to be on the committee and do something. So, you know, it's unheard of in city government to have extra people volunteer. So we finally just had to draw names out of a hat in order to come up with the 6 citizen members that are on the committee. 5? We're down to 5?
We drew 5.
We drew 5 because I was on. Yeah. Okay, first let me introduce the members of council who are here and on the committee. Mike Rowe, Andrew Eads, Roger Massey, Brian Herndon, Dave Rucker, and Bill Knight. The citizens that are on the committee include myself, Mark Ellis, Rachel Adkins. Rachel here yet?
Her son hasn't heard about that.
Ball game?
Flu.
Oh. Bob Miles, Marty Thomas, and Lynn Trott. Did I pronounce that correctly?
That's me.
Okay.
Yeah.
The purpose here tonight is just to get ideas and comments in addition to those that we might already have received. If you had a chance to see the mock-ups that were done by Thrasher, some of them included multifamily housing, some included single-family homes. One was of a park that we tentatively called Silver Eagle Park appropriately. But we're willing to listen to anything else that you might have. And then we want to try to discuss a little bit about the pros and cons of each of those proposals. And before we go much further, let me see, is there somebody who will volunteer to take notes?
All right.
Thanks, Bill. I told you about the form already, and I don't want to put a limit on how much time you have, but there might come a need for us to say, okay, we've heard enough, we need to move to the next person, give them the opportunity to speak. So if you, I don't have a sign-in sheet for anybody, but given this crowd, I think we'll be okay. So just raise your hand if you're ready to say something. I'll recognize you, have you stand up where you are, or better yet, come up to the front because we're live streaming. Before I invite and open it up to the public. Is there any committee member?
You want people to sign in?
If you
Don't care.
I don't care. If we could make a sign-up sheet, if y'all want your attendance to be noted, but we don't have to.
Whoever's speaking with an idea, please give me your name so I can get the name associated and the telephone number associated with what you're requesting.
Great. So, is there any committee member who wants to speak about how they feel about it? I'm going to look at you, Mark, first, because you live closer to St. Albans Junior High than anybody here, I think. And I'm not much farther behind you. But do you have something that you want to say to the people who are here tonight?
Since you put me on the spot, why not? Like Dusty says, I live on the west side, right beside the railroad building and St. Albans Junior High property.
Louder, please.
Okay, and I'm here to listen. I don't really have my preconceived.
Not to step on anybody's toe that wants to talk about it.
Hey, Mike, I don't think that'll, I won't. You understand, that's as far as that rule will go.
Oh,
We can't hear you.
I've been told I was a loudmouth. I thought you were.
Give us what you got, brother.
Okay, the only thing I was going to say was instead of beating the same horse 3 or 4 times, that we've already been approached with a skate park and a regular park, which would be listed as 2 of the options that we already have, we would have on our list now, and the housing. So unless somebody wants to expand on those, that's fine, but I do know we have already been approached with those 3 options, and nothing's been done. It's going to be listed with whatever else that you all decide of, or whoever decides. But just so that we maybe save some time and don't go over the same road every time with each person. That's all I said. All you had.
Anybody else?
Yeah. Marty Thomas, for those of you who do not know me. I really don't have any comments at this time, but I have sat at the house the last week or so and come up with some questions. And they may be more technical questions, but I think it's questions that need to be answered. First of all, it's like, what can we legally do with the property? What can we do financially with the property? How did we gain those 2 properties anyway? I know one was donated to Walnut Street, or not Walnut Street, Washington Street. The junior high property, I don't know how the city got that in their hands. I don't know if the Burgess donated.
We bought it.
Or whatever.
We bought
But,
it.
if you do plan on building something, and, what funds were used to dismantle it and get rid of it, tear it down?
Marty, we can't hear, I'm sorry.
Oh, where's the mic?
Yeah, we need some microphone here.
It's looking the wrong direction.
There you go.
Okay, I guess my question is more, if you didn't hear, more technical. How did we gain the properties? Were they donated, purchased, whatever? And what were the funds used to do that? What were the funds used to tear it down? And, if you used like a government grant or something like that, are there any stipulations on what you can do with the property? And I have several. I've got about 10 or 12 questions here. That's not all of them, obviously. But I would like to have some of those questions answered just to see, before we make any decisions on we want a housing or a park of some sort, what can we do with the property? Are there any limitations on us as a city, and any monies we use from the feds or state, any grants or anything like that? I just want to know if there are any limitations before we start deciding on if we want this, and then you get to a point and decide where you're told you can't do that. Or there might be a repayment of some kind or something like that. But I have several questions, and they'll be ongoing throughout.
And if you will, let's answer that one first. That's a great question, and it's an important question. City council members will be better able to answer this, but I've done a little bit of research myself, and I was a little concerned.
Yeah.
I had the same question.
Yeah.
If we use government grants to do it, and I know ARPA funds were used, I was concerned that there might be some federal clawback if we just got rid of it. But I understand from somebody who knows that it's possible that these ARPA funds could be used for a 1/4, 3/4 participation with an investor, and they can build something there that, so long as, or in order to ensure that St. Albans could manage who went in there and what the property was used for. But again, I'm not a council member. Dave?
That's pretty, I mean,
Well,
we
one thing before we get started, because I understand that ARPA funds, in their basic, and I know there's a great expansion on it, but yet they're basic, they're there for economic growth. And I don't know that a water park or a green space, to me, kind of falls under that. So I have questions, but I'll get to more of my questions as it goes down the line.
That's no problem. Anytime that you have a question, particularly one that's as pertinent as that one, don't be shy.
All right, so I'll leave it at that for now.
To answer that, I think that city acquired the property through purchase. ARPA funds, great deal was used in order to take the building down and to purchase the building from the previous owner. With that, when we're talking about the act of financing everything, I understand the question, but that's something we're going to have to look at as we determine what we're doing, because what grant is out there, you know, there's a grant for this and there's a grant for that, so we need to look at, your point is, what can we not do? As far as we own it, we can, I don't know of any.
Well, and that's the only reason I asked.
Right.
We don't, you're getting ready to say we don't fully know.
Right, 100%. But
And I'm not against one or the other. I just
understood. I just mean as far as financing, we're not going to make that call anyway. Finance committee will, and that they'll be the ones to make the recommendation. But with the financing when it's done, what grants available now might not be there 6 months or 8 months.
Well, when I speak of grants in ARPA money, I'm not talking to build something. You've already used these funds to dismantle the building. Are there any clauses there that might, stop us from doing?
We can check with the city attorney and see if there's any clauses.
That's all I'm asking.
Not that I have ever heard that there are any, but we can check. That'll be a city attorney question. So let's make sure that we check with the city attorney to answer that.
How is it zoned? Commercial, residential?
The area is residential, if I'm not mistaken, single-family dwelling residential. But a variance could be awarded to that. I mean, you could get that changed in the idea that the project we have is favorable to most. So zoning, that could be a variance that could be issued.
I'm pretty sure that one block where the school was is commercial.
Okay.
It's an island in the middle of that strip.
Yeah, with the multifamily dwellings that are within 100 feet of it, a variance like that, like Angus is right, a block or so away. The zoning, it is R1 right now for the most part, but I don't know that limits the options as to.
Any property can be switched to zoning as long as the board agrees to it. So we can.
I had concerns about the city being able to just sell it to a particular individual and not do a public auction. But again, I was told by somebody earlier that we could get an investor, and so it would be a joint venture type setup. And if that can work, that opens up some other avenues.
With this meeting tonight, we ought to be concerned with what we want to do.
Precisely.
And then, once we determine if we have 15 things listed, then as a committee, we can go back to the attorney, we can go back to whoever it is, and find out information and say, of these 10 options, 3 of them we can't even do. And give them feedback on that.
Anybody else from the committee want to say something before I open it up to the public?
I'll say this. Go ahead.
I'm on the committee, I'll get a microphone. I'll need a microphone to walk. If it's on, can you hear me?
Turn it on.
No, I don't.
It's on the mic. Just turn it on the mic, there back on.
There it goes.
There it is.
Okay. I'm Lynn Traub, for those of you who don't know me. A lot of you do. I moved here 66 years ago when I married my husband. I moved here from Long Island, New York, and I've raised 3 children here in St. Albans. And I was so thrilled when they pulled my name out of the hat to be part of this, because my 3 children went through St. Albans Junior High. They graduated from St. Albans High School. They all graduated from state universities here in West Virginia. They're all successful people and happy with their careers and where they are. So I was very thrilled, because I think this particular plot should be used for youth. That is a spot that educated youth for many, many years in the city. I think it was a high school before it was a junior high. Am I correct on that? Okay. So I say, let's do something for the youth. So I'm on the committee, I'm against any housing, really. I know we need housing in the city, but I would be against that. And so.
I got one other question. We're going to have more meetings than just one committee. I mean, we don't need to rush into this one night.
No. There's no plan to make a decision tonight. Today is just fact-finding, gathering information, and getting the input of what citizens want, and then we weigh the value. And then we'll even meet again at a later point. We might have another meeting to fact-find and to get information about each piece. We don't know that yet. But once we have all the pieces together, we can then sit down and talk about which ones, pick them apart, the pros and cons, look and dissect each one. So no decision would be made tonight at all. And again, any decision that this body makes is simply a recommendation to City Council. So I'll give my thought on it. I'm much in favor of Ms. Traub, exactly as she said, apart. My view at it is, I understand we need housing, but we have other properties in the city of St. Albans that we can sell for housing, and maybe we can use some of that money that we sell those properties in order to get other grant money that can further produce or further develop this park over time. I love the Silver Eagle Park idea. I think that with that, it can start as nothing but a green space with a rose garden and a walking trail with a couple exercise stations around the outside of it, a park bench that mom can sit and watch the kids run around, maybe a little bit of shelter on it, but something simple to begin with. Kids can come out and play a game of sandlot football or tag or whatever they want to play in a big open green space. So I love the park idea. I know that I'm also from St. Albans, and we rode our bikes all over. I would love to have some sort of facility to be able to ride our bikes that was not Billy Dunn, that the rain would wash our ramps away, and we'd go out there with our shovels and build it back up. So I get that idea, and I just believe that, yes, housing can be done, but we've got a lot of property that we can sell off for housing. This is a prime piece of real estate right in the middle of St. Albans, right where just about every kid, if they want to, can get to, unless you're out Pennsylvania Avenue. Those kids still find their way into town. So, I love the park idea, and I'll go on saying that.
On the list now.
Right.
Housing, skate park, and public park. On the list.
And to me, public park that grows into something, over time, we develop it with grant money. Mark?
I'm going to throw this out. I'm going to throw this out, and there are some St. Andrew Church members here, as I am. That property up on the hill, in the big parking lot, that I think might be able to be utilized. Let's think big picture, maybe not just the junior high property. There may be a way to really make this something nice, beautiful for the city and the youth, 100%. that's what we have to be thinking. This town is old. We need an injection. This might be the spirit. Just might be the start. So let's think big.
Love it.
One more thing.
Mark, are you talking about the St. Albans football field that St. Andrews uses?
Tennis courts, parking.
I know where it is, it's right beside me.
All of that is, I think it could be worked out.
You think that the church might be
I
willing to?
can't speak for the church.
I understand. I'm not asking you to speak for anybody.
It all comes down to money,
Of course.
no question.
Of course.
But it's,
Now, just for everybody's otherwise to edify you, I will tell you that there's at least one church in the community who's volunteered to put up some money to fund some youth-related projects. I don't know that there's a specific dollar sum that this other church has mentioned. I don't know. I've also thought about the idea of a meandering walking path through there that we could sell commemorative bricks for. Marshall has done it. It's been done in the city of Charleston. If we want to get some money back to the city or some way to offset the upkeep for that park, maybe that's something we could consider also. I don't have a problem with focusing on the youth, but man, we've got a lot of parks right now. We've got a city park that's underutilized and has more space that we could use too. So in the grand scheme of things, I hear the applause for anything that's related to youth. I'm not against youth, but look around. Look who the citizens of St. Albans are. The people who are here right now, they're seniors. What if we just did, what if the housing was something, I spoke to a developer the other day who said that one of the things that could be done are some real small units that people could put their parents in. And I'm just telling you that for consideration. I'm sorry, wait a minute, let me say this. Anybody else on the committee want to say something at this point, or can I?
Just one quick thing. The last 20 minutes, I've heard a lot of things about the junior high school property. Let's not forget that there's the Washington Street property also.
This committee is only assigned to evaluate the junior high property.
I thought we were doing all.
Initially, that was
Yeah.
Initial, I didn't get the memo.
Well, there's plenty of other properties in the city. I mean,
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, strike that.
As Dave mentioned, the city has some other properties that could be used to sell off to developers to put new houses on. Some of the houses have been demolished with the idea that new houses would go up on them.
And some of the properties could be used for the youth for different things, not
Absolutely.
only the junior high, but instead of using the big lot somewhere else for something else. But that's something we can make recommendations to after we decide.
Yes.
What's on here.
All right, anybody else up here? Sorry, you? Please state your name and where you live.
I'm Terry Blevins. My husband and I own the bakery. We have a little bit of Heaven Cupcakes on Main Street. And just a couple thoughts that I had real quickly. I went to St. Albans Junior High as well, and I love that school. But the reason why everyone in this room is like, around our age or older is because, quite frankly, the parents of younger children are at their kids' ball games right now. I can promise you that. They're at track meets and everything else. Dave's only here because he has to be, because he's got small children that he would be doing things with. So I love.
And Ron.
Exactly. But one thing I did want to touch on real quickly, the bakery, it's going to sound kind of out of left field. One of the things that I do as part of my job is I deliver about 68 to 70 weddings every year. And I deliver weddings up to 8 hours away. And so I am not only all over the state of West Virginia, I'm in Kentucky, Ohio, Virginia, and I am in areas that tend to do very well. And one of the ideas that I had, in addition to making it something that is central, yes, we do have City Park, yes, we do have roadside park, but I also want to talk about the fact that you can't walk to either one of those. Now, I was the kid who grew up on Sand Hill Drive, and my happy honey walked to South Walnut every day to go to the pool, but you can't get to either one of those places unless you have a vehicle. If we had a park right on Canal Terrace, it would enable young people, people without cars, to be able to access that. So that's the first thing. But the second thing I want to throw out there is this, and I wrote it on my sheet. If we looked into, at some point, when we had the funds to do so, building an event venue. Guys, I'm going to tell you right now, for all of my friends who flip houses, I have this conversation once a month. Stop flipping houses and build a wedding venue or build an event venue. That would be something that could sit on the back side of that hillside, would not be a detriment to, the folks who are living in that area, but would be something beautiful that people could host. Small gatherings, small weddings, and guess what they're also doing? Paying the city to rent it. If we had a space like that, a space that had a kitchen, a space where someone like me could literally recommend to these 68, 70 brides that I have every year that are looking for venue space, this is available. These wedding venues, literally, Adventures on the Gorge, okay? I know that's a different part of town, but Adventures on the Gorge, to have a wedding there starts at $15,000 a weekend. Just to have your wedding there. People pay it. They're booked for 3 years. In the state of West Virginia, because of the natural beauty that we already have, St. Albans is very centrally located. I really feel like having an event venue like that could utilize the green space for ceremonies, could absolutely host those kinds of events, is something that would be a consistent moneymaker for the city. It would enable us to make improvements to the park, to do more things. And if the St. Andrews property, was included in that, maybe that's something that could be put on the back side of that hill. So it's just something that I hadn't seen come up, and certainly something that's in my ballpark. So just want to
I appreciate it. That's something that I never would have dreamed of, and having gone to a couple of weddings recently, I appreciate that. I know what you're saying, and that's a great idea. Sorry, go ahead.
Please don't make me stand up. I'm a senior citizen, and I just cut my grass today, and it took me 4 hours, and I crawled in here.
You're fine. Name and address.
Gina Pointer, McKinley Avenue, Ward 4. We're here to represent Ward 4, our councilman side. But anyway, my husband and I are probably the minorities here, and we look around and we see the senior citizens, and maybe all the youth are out playing games, but we live 2 blocks from Albans Elementary that has a great, playground and everything, and drive by it almost daily, and you don't see kids out playing. You do have the city park, you do have the roadside park, and then a lot of our tax money for the county went in over to Shawnee Park, a beautiful place. I don't think we should compete and try to keep up with the Joneses. I think we should be St. Albans and see, maybe we should just be the senior citizen, clean up the neighborhood, and have properties next to us. Have it, if anybody wants to come to Ward 4, I'll be happy to give you a tour. We've lived here for 27 years, and it's gone downhill. And also, if you're going to have a park, you're going to have your vagrants and your druggies there. And and you're going to need more patrol. We don't have enough in our area. We only have sidewalks in our area, but we still get out and walk. So we are the minority. We're thinking do something that you can do year-round. You can't skateboard in the snow. You can't have a splash pad, in the wintertime. So we're thinking, bring some tax base in, some housing, whether it's townhouses or whatever. St. Albans is not going to be Tays Valley. We just don't have the income level here or anything else. But we can be nice and clean and be presentable to people to come and just raise their family. So many of us, probably older people, we didn't have parks growing up. We played in the backyard and we were just fine. Well, some people might say differently, but that's our view. We're the minorities.
It's okay to be the minority. Name, address.
I'm Libby Monterey, and I live with my sister on Park Street up here.
Okay.
It's something we haven't mentioned that I think very important. George Washington owned that land. And when I went to school there, and I went to school there, went up to high school, The marker was very plain. It seems to me that we shouldn't forget that George Washington owned that land. It's good land. It can be made into what we think we need. And there is money, perhaps, through the federal government, and they could make a federal flash park. And this would be really nice for us. So I think it needs to be looked into.
Go ahead. Name and address, please.
I am Keely Williams, also a Davidson on my mother's side. I live on Valley Pike and been here my whole entire life. I am in full support of a green space, but even further down the line, I would really love to see not even a youth, a recreational space. I've heard a lot of people talking about how there's two different sides of our coin right now. There's everybody saying we need more stuff for the youth, and then there's more people saying that we need to support our seniors because we're a city full of seniors. Both are correct. You know, we are currently an older community, but there's a problem with that. We need to be inviting more young families, and not even more young families. I don't have children myself. There are other people my age, and I'm 45, so there's other people my age in this town who also don't have children. So we also need to be looking at those young professionals that have good incomes to come into town as well and want to live here. And one of the things that I think that's why I feel like the green space would actually serve all purposes. I think it serves everyone. The green space is going to serve the children. I said I would love to see it personally, I want to see a recreational side to that. I love the green space in general. Just because it's beautiful and it's a nice place, a nice focal point for the city. But I would also like to see basketball courts, pickleball courts, some things to do, and I would like to have some things, I would like to be able to support those with different families like mine that might want to name those after different people in the community. Like my grandfather, most of y'all know my grandfather, he was Coach Al Davidson from Albans Junior High, so 42 years and 22,000 students later. I would really like to honor him and the other amazing, amazing educators and continue their legacy. Thank you so much. I'm so sorry. And continue that legacy of them supporting the kids. And not just in sports and not just, but also, like I said, in a wider education and also in getting them prepared for life. That's what I hear them. I didn't even get to go to Albans Junior High. Full disclosure, I'm the only one in my family that didn't, but I did not even get to go there. But I'm still this passionate about that space and about that school because of what it's meant to the community. Because I've had so many people, since my grandfather passed, I've had so many people come to me and tell me that he changed their life. And other educators that were there, other coaches that were there did the same. So I want to definitely foster that. But getting back to my point about this being a space for everyone, I think one of my favorite communities is Fort Mill, right outside of Charlotte, North Carolina, but Fort Mill, South Carolina. My favorite part about it is their green space. When you first come in, they have this enormous, beautiful green space. And they just built, I don't know how often you all get down that way, they just built a big community called Kingsley that is full of shops. It also has young professional housing. It has yoga studios. It has recreation, built around a central green space. And they have tons of high-income young professionals moving into that area. Now, I get it, it's Charlotte. Okay, I understand that. But I'm just saying something similar to that, a focal green space like that would really invite young families that do have small children, give them a great place for sports, give them a great place to even go and study. One other thing, and then also our seniors. I mean, this is also something that our seniors would enjoy. So this is something that serves every aspect of our community. It offers growth, brings more people in. Like I said, I think we need to stop focusing on either seniors or young kids and families. Like I said, there's this underserved population of young professionals that we really need to start looking at that want a nice, quiet place to call home, that don't want to be in a Taze Valley, that want to embrace that small town life, that want to be able to walk to a park. that don't have to drive there or walk to food or, you know, be out with their neighbors. They want that life, but still close enough to Charleston, close enough to Huntington. We're in the perfect spot to invite people like that. And I think the green space supports that. One other thing I do kind of want to mention, I don't know if it would fit in with the Silver Eagles Park or the Coach Al Davidson Memorial Recreational Park, if anybody was so inclined. But I don't know if it fits in with that. But I would also, somewhere in the city, and maybe as part of this, I would love to see a community garden or a community greenhouse. We can make money off of that. There are already other nonprofits in our area, not in St. Albans, but in West Virginia, that have started their own greenhouses and sell that produce like it's, you know, free for the community. They also can sell that produce to local businesses, so we can make money off of that. But I think we could also offer we could partner with some of the area colleges like State and offer some really cool STEM activities for the kids and teach them about growing food, teach them about agriculture, teach them about the economics behind that and sustainability. I think there's a great opportunity there with one of these spaces, maybe as part of this, maybe as one of the other spaces, but to offer that to our population. Like I said, either a community garden or a greenhouse. Like I said, sell some of it, have some STEM programs for some of the kids to really teach them how to keep our community sustainable. That would be my other general idea.
One of the things that you brought up included shops with housing for young professionals. Somebody before the meeting started mentioned to me that we might be able to use that area, my words, not this person's recommendation, but my words, similar to the way that Main Street is currently set up, Old Main is set up, where you got businesses on one floor and then young urban professional stuff on the second floor. I'll be honest, when I was first thinking about this, if it was multifamily dwellings, I was thinking small apartments for seniors. But I'm also intrigued by Terry's idea of a venue on the back side of that and what that could do for the city also.
I don't know if there's space to do like
the front half, just so you know about the space, the front half of the lot, there's a frontage of 250 feet, and it goes back about 200 feet, although there is the opportunity to add another 40 foot on there that I discussed with a couple of people today, so that it would go back another 40 feet. But all of my life, I thought this lot was huge. I mean, and it had to be because the school was so tall, it just gave that impression. It's not that big. Honestly, I thought, when the city was talking about tearing it down, I thought that'd be a perfect place to centralize all the city government. Move everybody there. But it's really not big enough. If there's a green space in there, we couldn't just put a walking path around the outside of it. It wouldn't amount to anything. That's why if we put a green space in there, the sidewalk or walk space would have to meander through to make the walk worth anything. Otherwise, it's just a small space. It won't accommodate. So anyway, yes?
What is so I heard something about a football field and tennis courts. Where are those, and do we own those too?
In relation to St. Albans Junior High, there is an alley that runs right beside of the junior high property, and up on the hill.
I want to correct you. That's not an alley. That's 10th Street.
Oh, 10th Street. Sorry. And there's one house that sits there, and then there's a tennis court that has fallen into a horrible state of disrepair. And belongs to the church because they didn't need it for anything. The church owns the tennis court and it owns the old St. Albans Junior High practice field.
There was literally
and the parking lot. And the parking lot for
that went up the hillside from the alley.
Uncle Jim and Uncle Jerry.
For the parking lot.
Okay, they kept telling me that I couldn't find it.
Right there. I do have a question real quick.
Wait a minute, which parking lot?
I'm sorry.
That's all right, which parking lot?
No.
Up behind Mark's house. Yeah, okay. Sorry. There's another little street that goes up there and dead ends at that parking lot, sort of. the street actually goes all the way back to the back of my property, but it's only paved to the parking lot. Sorry, Terry,
Oh,
Terry,
no,
go
no,
ahead.
you're fine. Real quickly, we were talking about the church and, you know, the football, the practice field, the football field. The parking that is right behind, you know, that last house that sits there, would that be included?
Oh, gosh. I defer to Steve before I said anything.
It's owned by the church.
Oh, I know. I just mean, if we were talking about like the football field and all that stuff, I guess my question was, would there be a possibility of that parking included, or is that something the church needs? I wasn't sure.
The church, we use it.
They do.
For the services and
Events.
special venues and all that.
Funerals.
But if you put a park in there, or if you take purchase the property above the flat section up there, I think there's about 6.5, 7 acres of flat land up there. Plus there's the tennis courts, you know, if you want to make sports complex or whatever.
Yeah.
Up there, like Nitro did.
Yes.
But the church would be more than willing to let use as parking, as long as we don't have a menu or any church service.
Sure.
I was just curious. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Are we kind of getting out of our scope that we're here to do the old junior high property, and we can't really agree that we're going to want to do this or want to do this with the property, which is not even in our agreement of conversations.
Sure, we are.
We should center this on the property that we're dealing with, and that's the junior high school.
Then I'll take the blame for letting it get off course,
Well,
but I want to hear it.
I'm just asking the question.
No, I understand your concern, but I'm sorry. Go ahead, Steve. I'll get to you, Paul.
Just as a point of reference, where the tennis courts are right now, a few years back, there was a Centel wanted to come in and put cell tower in. Well, there was such an uproar, it was unbelievable, in my opinion.
It was.
By putting the so-called low-cost housing in there, you'll be running into the same thing, in my opinion.
Well, I will tell you, I will never recommend, my vote would never be to put low-cost housing in.
Well, neither would ours with the church.
No, don't worry about my vote on that. Paul? Name and address.
Okay, my name is Paul Tabbitt. I live here in St. Albans out on River Lake on Alice Lane. I represent the St. Albans C&O Modelers Association. We're a 501c3. We are the neighbors to the building, the old junior high band building. That's us. Our motto is to share models doing history. We have a scale model of St. Albans in that building right now. It's under construction in model railroading. We approached the city council a number of months ago before the demolition of the building. We just want, we're not going to say we want green space, we're not going to say we want housing. We just want a little bit of property there so we can park cars for people. Okay? You go somewhere and you hear, there's a traffic jam, my God, we can't park cars, it's crowded. Well, we do a model railroad show. We were in this building here for shows for 5 years in a row. We sold out that kitchen. These ladies couldn't believe it. People come and see model railroad train. But we did. We moved up on the hill about 20 years ago. We're 25 years old. We've been here that long. And we have to go south. We were in Chief Logan State Park this past weekend to raise our fundraisers once a year. We did it at Hawks Nest State Park to raise our fund for our fundraisers. But we outgrew Hawks Nest, so we have to go south and get a bigger place and make it affordable for these people. People come from all over the country for the Chesapeake and Ohio Railroad. They model this. Old guys, young guys, it does, you know, women, men, boys, kids, girls, everybody. And we're open up here every Friday night to the public. And what we like I said, what we would recommend is some parking there on 10th Street, excuse me, parallel parking for about 20 cars or so. Keep us in mind. Go ahead.
Just interrupt you just for a second. In our council meeting a few months ago, the council voted to provide, once we decided what we wanted to do, to provide you all with some. We didn't give you a number of 20. We didn't vote. We didn't vote on that.
No, there was no vote.
Okay.
The discussion was that first we have to determine what we're doing with the property.
Right. That's why I'm just reiterating to you.
Okay.
I'm just coming back and reminding you. Say, hey, we're still here. We haven't gone. Right. Because that happens a lot. If we would have came here tonight, y'all, we could have got fallen through the cracks.
You're still on the list.
But anyway, that's what we do. And committee, keep in mind, don't make no rash decisions on how you do things. You can table this for a month and still talk about it. Okay? And if it means for us holding up for parking, that's fine too. But whatever you do, I have faith in you. You'll make the right decision. Don't make a fast one now. Think about it. Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you.
And come see us on Friday nights. We're open.
What time do you open?
We're open. It's around 7 o'clock. We usually somebody there at 6. If you see a car up here, come in.
Got it.
Okay? We're using the parking lot. We're using part of the junior high now as a parking lot.
I'm sorry, I live right up there. I didn't know you were open, but
Yeah.
I'll be back.
25 years.
You should see the choo-choo in they just did. A model of it. It's awesome.
I have a quick question. Are you all the group that's selling the pens made out of the gym?
That's us.
Oh,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Jim Butler, we're selling the ink pens. We had we were fortunate enough to get some wood from the basketball court, there in the gymnasium. And we're selling some pens there, but I'm not here. I can't promote that.
May I ask though how you all acquired that gymnasium floor?
Let's stay on topic for the meeting.
Oh, yeah.
Y'all can talk. Yeah, y'all talk.
This is an
All right.
ongoing meeting.
Bringing up a question.
I'm sorry, thank you.
I'm
I know
sorry,
who you
Dale
are, but
Withrow,
thank you.
we live at 812 South Washington Street. The question I have, what are the limitations on the property as far as, and I'm trying to think of a way to say this the best I can think of. Let's say somebody comes in town and they've got a large bucket of money and they said, I'd like to buy that property to put a venue on. Is that an option for somebody to just outright purchase the property?
No, it would have to go out for bid. It would have to go out for bid, it's city property.
If they were going to completely divest themselves of ownership, it would have to be sold at public auction.
So, okay, thank you.
If they did it as a joint partnership, however, they might be able to use a single investor.
Very good, thank you.
Is my understanding.
And that's due to St. Albans not having a land bank?
I understand that the land bank ordinance was passed, but it hadn't been, the land bank hadn't been created.
I believe that you are correct. Yes, I'm not certain.
Yes, if they had a land bank, they could sell, the land bank could sell it.
A follow-up to that, Mr. Brick, has the property been appraised? Is there a value?
I don't believe so, no. Not that council has seen.
It hasn't been surveyed.
It has not been surveyed.
There was a bid from somebody and it was kind of high. So I don't know. Like I said, the tax map show it's 250 by 200 and some.
For the folks in the crowd that are not up on terminology, can you explain to me what exactly the term land bank means?
So the properties that we tear down, the junior high, dilapidated houses, they go into the land bank. The land bank agency, land reuse agency, land use, they determine, they do the selling. So if we, as the city, we're required to bid anything out that we we sell, even if it's a bicycle. We can't sell things without bid. I think there's a price limit, but with this, we can't do that. The land bank would have the authority over the land to let it go to whichever seller, whichever, they could be the seller to whichever buyer.
Okay, and who owns the land bank? Like, does the city own it, or is it another municipality?
It's a branch of, I wouldn't say they own the land bank. The land bank is made up by whoever is appointed to the board, like other boards exist in town.
Okay.
They would be responsible for the property, how it's used in that.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And I'll just tell you that the city of Nitro uses a land bank expertly. And the Taco Bell that's over there, the city of Nitro bought all of those buildings, tore them down, sold the property to the Taco Bell, because even though they lost a little bit of money on the initial sale, they knew that the revenue that was going to be generated would eventually come back to the city. And they've done this any number of times, and they do it very, very well. And I understand that the council adopted the Land Reuse Authority, which is the legal name for the land bank. Anybody else? We got plenty of time.
My name's Linda Costello. I think you all know me. I was approached by a city official, and he said, we have to get these houses in here because people are not moving to St. Albans because there's no new housing. I said, people are not moving to St. Albans because there's nothing for teenagers and children to do. Nitro and South Charleston, and granted, Nitro's rich. South Charleston's rich. Their tax base is huge. But we've got to do something in this town for these children and the teenagers. And having housing there is not going to get it. That's what I want to say.
Mr. Booth?
I'm Dan Blevins,
sorry.
South Walnut Street.
You are Mr. Bush, aren't you?
Real quick, I hear a lot of things about, I've been here 20 years, married to this nice wonderful woman here. I love this town. I see a lot of struggle. I come from an area in Pennsylvania that has a very successful little city, right outside Lancaster. And one thing that I see that maybe we're missing the ball on, the park's a great idea for the junior high making it the park. I love that idea. But we need to generate revenue for the city. Come on our next council meeting, I have a whole list of things. I wrote up a thing, going to give it all the council members. My ideas, how we go forward on making and generating revenue for the city. That will pay for turf, for the kids involved. And there's other aspects involved with that. But you know, as far as generating money, I think that's where we need to look at. It's a perspective we haven't actually seen. Yeah, we can make it into a park, but put something in that park. My idea a long time, I'm a little crazy with this. A merry-go-round. Very simple. Here's the thing. Nobody else has one. If we had something that was different, Nitro has their splash park and their pool. Fayetteville has the zip lines and everything else. If we had something that people were like, you know what? St. Albans has this, this, and this. And I have several other ideas that I'll bring up, which would generate revenue for this city. Then we could go forward and do the repair of the roads, the pipes, the towers, stuff for the kids, housing for seniors. We could do this. But what we need to do is generate the revenue, because we can't do it with historical places. You know, we've got a lot of history, but nobody's coming here to really look at the history. You know, not like you would Savannah. I don't know if anybody's ever been to Savannah, Georgia, but that's history. You know, if you want to go shopping, we're limited on shopping here. You know, there's not a lot, everybody that lives here, I'm sure you go beyond St. Albans to buy what you want. So that's out of the question. I mean, you look at Easton, people go to Easton all the time, every day, thousands and thousands of people, and purchasing and spending lots of money. If we created something that we could use, like City Park, that's one of my things I'll be talking about Monday, just running over some attractions. We want attractions and entertainment. That's what we could do here. And it's not going to hurt anybody. If we have attractions and entertainment that is actually owned by the city, I'll go back to my crazy idea of a merry-go-round, a small, simple one. owned by the city. People would come in, they'd ride it, revenue gets generated, gets put into a fund, and it pays for little things. And we build off of that revenue to do even greater and bigger and other items. I have lots of plans for City Park. And if I had an open checkbook, we'd do a lot of stuff. But yeah, that's all I have to say about that. I think generating revenue for the city is probably important.
I was just going to make a comment to the lady's comment over here. I don't believe that we are not bringing people into St. Albans because we don't have things for the children, kids. Because again, the groups I talked, City Park, Albans Elementary, got a new, fairly new high school. You got to clean up the city before you bring anything in, or it's just going to get worse.
All right, we allocated time. Oh, sorry, go ahead. Name and address, please.
My name is Chris Taylor. I'm a long-time resident. I live up on College Hill, but I had an orthodontic office on 6th Avenue. Okay. Bought the building, put an apartment on top of it. Never put a sign out, and it's been rented day one. Been remodeled twice. Dr. Sparks took over at it. We put another building on the back of it, and it was never even posted. It was, people were wanting, can we look at it before it's even finished? Okay. The property, I went to the junior high, okay, so I've got fond memories of it too. But the property's not very big. It's exactly what you said, okay? The other thing I see too is I'm raising 2 grandkids, all right? I have a fight with them all the time. I think that our vision for St. Albans is too small in the sense. I talk to parents, I talk to them and they say, you know, we need something here. You know, we need a sky zone in St. Albans. And I said, there's a sky zone 20 minutes away. Okay? You can live in Houston, Texas, and I guarantee you 90% of those people aren't as close to a sky zone as we are in St. Albans. Okay? I think that the property down there, yes, it'd be nice and green, but I think that you need to have something that the younger people are going to come. My youngest one wanted a small place, you know, confined. You know, so I think that place, the area there, right on Canal Terrace, yes, it'd be real pretty green. I think that some of the designs here were very nice. I think that's showing, but we've got to keep it up. We've got there's kids out here playing basketball, okay? That's probably about the only place I ever see them going. When the 2 grandkids went out, I got to stay on the phone. Where you want to pick me up at Hansford at the basketball. On Briar Street, there's another basketball thing. Over in the park, at Ordnance Park, the tennis stuff's over there. It's not used. If you want to do something for the kids and change it, we already have those places, okay? Put the money, take down the tennis court. Nobody's playing tennis court, you know. Older people are supposed to be playing pickleball, you know. But the problem too is that with West Virginia, we're 4 seasons, so that gets shut down for at least half the year. So I think that the park, the place for the junior high, needs to raise some funds, okay. The kids nowadays they want to be at the sports complex if they're going to do something like that, okay. If there's or the parents put them and they drive to basketball tournaments or everything else, you know. But I think that we need to have a place for the young ones to come. And if we're going to do something for you, fix up the parks that we've got. You know, I don't think we need another one to fall apart if there's no money for it. That's my opinion. Like I say that, you know, with raising 2 grandkids too.
I'm Josh Ellswick. I live up on Lee Street. Me and my wife, Elizabeth, we own a house up on Lee, and we own a building on Park Street as well, the old candle store. We think that it would be cool to have something like a small business incubator, in a sense, to piggyback off of your idea. I mean, we could build a store for a storefront in a sense for people to rent. The city would make money off of it. It would also drive people into the area. You don't see stuff like that anywhere. Morgantown has a place like that. It's huge. They use it as it's got a metal awning, and they use it for a
it's like a pavilion that they rent out for art markets, farmers markets, vintage markets.
That's all right.
Yeah. Again, Dale Withrow, Southwest Street. I'm hesitating a little bit because I'm probably going to be a minority here. People aren't going to bring their young kids and come here. the young families, your young families with small kids and stuff, they're going to Hurricane, they're going to Tate Valley, they're not coming here. Putting turf on a field, building a park is not going to bring those people in here. I think what we need to be thinking about, and I think St. Albans as a whole, if I can make a general statement, I have the opportunity to travel out west quite a bit, and we tend to, we try to stay off the interstates and we stay on the back roads and in the rural areas. And we see small towns that are small, as the same size as St. Albans or smaller, that have embraced their quaintness, if that's a way to say it. They've embraced the fact that they are small. They've embraced the fact that they are quaint. There was one city, the Halloween place. I can't remember.
Ohio.
What was it?
It's in Ohio.
Well, it's in Ohio, but they are like the Halloween capital of the United States, or the Eastern Seaboard. And you know, people go there to see that, and they spend money at the restaurants. They spend, maybe even stay in a hotel or whatever. But they're not looking to move there because there's nothing else going on. My point is that we need to stop thinking about growing St. Albans into this big metropolis. It's not going to happen. And we need to embrace our size and embrace the communities that we have and build on that. If you look at the statistics, look at the census, we are an old city. You know, a couple of years, well, been about 10 years ago, St. Albans, by demographic, was the oldest city and the oldest town in the nation. People are not bringing their kids here. I'm all for it. Like this gentleman, in my opinion, hit the nail on the head. We've got parks. We have. There's a park a block away from where I live, and I see maybe 3 or 4 kids over there shooting hoops. That's it. Let's embrace what we have. Just one thing, and I don't want to get too awfully specific, but this young lady right here came up with an idea years ago. There is a thing that's called like an artificial ice surface. And the idea was that when the tennis courts have been shut down because it's cold, you put this surface out, now you've got a skating park. So don't limit it. Let's not limit ourselves because it gets cold in West Virginia. Okay, let's embrace that. But my whole point is, folks, let's cater to the old farts like me, and let's take care of those people. And if we can invite people in by having some quaint little shop or something, go for it. The other thing that concerns me, and I love Terry's idea, but we've got buildings that are sitting empty out in the area where there's already parking, where there's already space. And I understand that the rent can be a bit exorbitant out there. But you've got the empty Kmart building, you've got the old Ponderosa buildings that are sitting there empty. You know, we need to be doing what we can to incentivize a company to go in there instead of taking a small green space that's not going to be big enough for this idea.
They only, the old Ponderosa building, they want $15,000 a month for that building. And they're not, they don't care because they get the tax write-off as it sits empty. Kmart is the same thing. These are not local people that own these buildings. These are conglomerates in New York City. And unfortunately, they don't give 2 cracks if St. Albans burns itself down because they're just taking a tax.
St. Albans is in the process of trying to do things, to push, but it's coming out of New York. They own it, but they live in New York. It's all a tax write-off. They can care less about who's here or what's in there. But I do know that there's work being going on to do stuff to try to make sure that if they do something, if they don't, then we can go in legally and do something. But it's been an ongoing battle for 20 years, but even before Kmart.
When I was on city council years ago, we looked into the idea of raising the taxes on vacant buildings and doing research and stuff on it. It's just like Terry said, it's ineffective because they'll write that off against a profitable property in another state or whatever. So I don't know what we could do to incentivize it, but you know, instead of trying to cram something into this little 400 square or 4,000 square foot space back here. You know, let's look to that. And I'm all for like the green space or a park in there. And then I'm gonna shut up.
You haven't spoken.
My name's Mary Lou Pelling, and I live in that neighborhood, and I wish I brought the babies with me tonight because they go down to St. Francis and Central and places. They love the parks, and their parents are young, and some of them might move away, but some of them might stay if we had things for them to do. And years ago, they said we couldn't build the library. And Cy Rich, my neighbor, said we can. Olga Hilbert said we could. We had a town fair. The babies helped at the parades, and we built the library. And we lost the central land. We could have had a nice park where Central was, but we let that go to businesses. Don't let any more go to businesses. We need a park. We got lots of places for businesses, a lot of empty buildings. So I'm for the babies, I'm for the park, and I want to go watch them play.
I think Dale brings up a really, really interesting point. I really feel like all of a sudden that maybe we have been looking at this a little bit incorrectly. Instead of looking at this space as a way to bring in residents, maybe we do need to start looking at ourselves as more of a destination. You know, that destination traffic, maybe people aren't going to live here for multiple reasons. Maybe there's a lot of different reasons that people aren't moving here. And maybe that's okay. Maybe if we have enough people living here, but we can turn ourselves into a destination. And going back to also what Dale and what Dan were talking about, having something, I'm still about a green space, I'm still about a park, but having some attractions in that space, like, I will say that, you know, like the ice skating rink, it's a year-round ice skating rink, it's a synthetic ice skating rink. The reason I'm bringing that back up again that Dale brought up is when we first started talking about that, we had done a lot of research into this because nobody else has one. But the people that did, the other cities that had one, it brought in tons of revenue year-round because nobody else had it. And so, I mean, I think that, or like, you know, the merry-go-round that Dan was talking, you know, something, this is another really crazy kind of out there idea. But I've done some research also for another client of mine about Hallmark cities. And I know this is going to sound really ridiculous. I'm a big Hallmark Channel movie fan, okay? I'm not shy about it, not going to apologize for it, not sorry. But it's gotten to be such a culture around, there's starting to be such a push. People my age, people younger than me, you know, I'm 45, so I'm no spring chicken. So like people my age, people younger than me, these young families, they are addicted to that small town life. Nobody has that anymore. Nobody gets that anymore. They don't get it in the towns that surround us. Those are all bigger. I agree. We need to embrace our small town lifestyle. Like I said, the ability to be able to walk to places, the ability to have a green space in the middle, but also something that's going to bring that destination transient traffic into town to spend their dollars, and then they can live wherever they want. But that is just, that really clicked, and it made me think that I have done research into, there are whole towns that are literally built, they're Hallmark towns. They merchandise towards that demographic, towards people 55 and younger who are addicted to that small town lifestyle that they don't actually have access to. They travel to these towns that have a really nice merry-go-round, like the good old days, that have a nice, green space, centralized green space with little cute shops around it. That small business incubator that has, little one-off little, shops in it that they can't find anywhere else. Look at Lewisburg. Look at Fayetteville. Why do people go there? It's not all about, I get it, Fayetteville has like the rafting and all that stuff too, but I go down there just for lunch. I go down there, same thing for Lewisburg. I just go down there for the day. People travel there because of that quaint lifestyle. And so I really think that that's something to explore, and especially the ice skating rink, I forgot about that.
Actually, that's a great point, because one of the things that we've noticed, we've been on Main Street for 8 years, 8 years and a couple weeks. And folks, if I literally pull pulled up all of the records. Yes, thankfully there are lots of folks in St. Albans who support us, and we appreciate that tremendously. I literally cannot count in a week the amount of people who stop at our bakery and they're like, you know, yeah, we're from New York, we're from Virginia, we're from Pennsylvania, we're from Kentucky, we're from Ohio. We came here to find you. This happens 3-5 times a week. And I'm looking at them going, why else? Or, you know, do you have family here? No, we heard about you, we saw, you know, and it's not just me, we're not the only draw, but that's a very good point in the fact that what if we had other things for them, you know what I mean, to be able to enjoy and do. So it's a great opportunity, I think, for us to kind of build on. We have the best people in the world. We do. I mean, we absolutely do. And I love the fact. I tell everybody I'm on Main Street because I have a very nostalgic relationship with Main Street. But I think that we've got a lot of great people that have a lot of great ideas, and hopefully we can expand on those.
By the way, before I forget, if any of you have written anything on any of those forms, will you, when you leave, will you just put them on the end of the table there so that I can gather them all without having to wander through all the tables, put the tables back? Anybody else? Anybody on the committee? If you will, I'm going to excuse all of you all. I'm going to ask if the committee people will hang around so we can discuss when we have a next meeting. Anybody else?
Are we having another meeting?
Don't know yet.
The committee is definitely going to have another meeting. The question will be whether we have another public.
So let me clarify. The question will be whether we have another public forum. But all meetings are required to be open to the public. We cannot have a meeting that is not notified to the public. So that doesn't mean that it would be more run like a city council meeting where the business happens and then the public forum would be after that. But so we have to announce meetings, but it will be notified of when the next meeting is.
No problem.
I did not.
Blame Scott Chambers.
Well, I don't even think we should get into the Facebook drama. Yes. It has to be posted, and this meeting was posted 12 days ago. So we're good. We're up front.
To my knowledge, the time never changed.
It never changed.
It was always 6 o'clock, 8 o'clock.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. All right. Thank you all very much. I appreciate your input.